11 health symptoms no one should ignore in 2021. Every now and then we may not feel well and may fall foul of our health. It pretty much comes with the territory. There are times when the cause behind why we are unwell is obvious. It may be a flu, or you may have sprained your ankle when exercising. These sorts of things are common, and I'm sure we have all at one time or the other experienced pains and aches. However, there are certain symptoms that should always be taken seriously, no matter how minor they may look, as it may be a sign of your body telling you that something more sinister is going on in your body. This article will look to highlight 11 health symptoms that we should never ignore but which should prompt us to seek immediate medical attention as far as they are concerned. 1. One of the symptoms out there that you should never ignore is chest pain or pressure. If you are experiencing extreme discomfort in your chest or in the upper body, which feels like tightness, pressure or squeezing, and which may radiate down an arm, then you should take the situation lightly. This is because this is a sign of a heart attack, which is a life-threatening condition and should never be taken lightly. In such a situation you should call 911 rather than driving yourself to the ER. 2. Another symptom you should never ignore is if you are experiencing drooping or weakness down one side of your body. This should be taken seriously as this is a sign of a stroke, another very serious condition, one which is also life-threatening. With strokes, time is of the essence as the more you wait, the more your brain incurs damage, and as such the quickly you recognize and seek treatment for its symptoms, the better your chances of survival, as is covered in detail over at the excellent Frontliner. 3. Yet another symptom that you should never ignore is if you are experiencing the worst headache of your life, one you have never experienced before. While headaches are common, if the headache comes on suddenly and is extremely severe and the worst you've ever had, then it could indicate an aneurysm, which, since it is a blood vessel in the brain, should be taken seriously as this is another potentially life-threatening situation. 4. Shortness of breath and breathing difficulties is yet another symptom you should never ignore as per the gurus over at Frontliner. If you are experiencing shortness of breath or wheezing and gasping, then it may indicate a sign of something more sinister such as a blood clot or embolism in the lungs. If someone also has a known condition such as asthma, then they shouldn't ignore severe shortness of breath as this could be a sign of a severe attack. 5. Unexplained weight loss is another symptom that should never be ignored, especially if it is significant. For instance, if you lose more than 5% of your body weight without trying or without any reason in less than 6 months, then you should take it seriously. Unexplained weight loss could be a sign of serious health conditions such as cancer, an infection among others, and should be taken seriously. 6. Yet another symptom that you should never ignore is if you develop sudden or severe abdominal pain. This should be taken seriously as it may indicate a number of very serious health conditions such as bowel obstruction, appendicitis, stomach ulcers, kidney stones, and even an aortic aneurysm, all of which are discussed in detail over at the excellent Frontliner. 7. If you are experiencing tenderness, pain or swelling in one or both legs, especially if it is sudden onset and persistent, then this is yet another symptom that you should never ignore. This is because swollen legs may be a sign of heart failure, which should always be looked at and treated before it escalates any further. Swollen legs can also be a sign of issues with your veins and as such should always be taken seriously. 8. Not all symptoms that should never be ignored are dramatic or traumatic, as yet another one is if you notice changes in your breasts or nipples. If you notice lumps, changes in the skin as well as nipple discharge and others, all of which are discussed over at Frontliner on your breasts, then you should never ignore it. This is because this is a sign of breast cancer, which as we know is one of the major killers as far as health conditions are concerned. 9. Unusual bleeding or blood in unusual places is another symptom that you should never ignore. This includes cases of blood in the stool, which is seen as black or tarry stools, as well as blood in the vomit and urine or blood in sputum. This may be a sign that you may have stomach, lung, esophageal among other forms of cancer, as well as other conditions such as hemorrhoids, fissures among others. Blood in the urine may also indicate issues with your kidneys which should be looked at. Non-menstrual bleeding should also be taken seriously as this may be a sign of infections of the cervix, an ectopic pregnancy in pregnant women among others. 10. Yet another symptom that should never be ignored is if you are experiencing severe depression and you feel like there is no point going on. While depression is common, severe cases should always be taken seriously, and if someone is experiencing severe hopelessness, self-loathing and helplessness, then one should seek help for them. Suicidal thoughts should always be taken very seriously. 11. Stiff neck. The underlying cause of a stiff neck is very important and a key indicator of its severity. If your child was fine the day before and woke up with only neck pain, it may only be a muscle spasm. But if she has cold-like symptoms including a fever and now can't bend her neck, the condition could be more serious. One possibility is the brain infection called meningitis, which requires evaluation at the ER. Another scenario mostly occurs among children who play contact sports. Their neck pain may be due to physical contact and need a doctor's evaluation.